city or a town, the frown, the business of a crown, of the living that abounds, of the church and the announcements. It's doing what counts, the underground sound in a city or a town, the frown, the business of a crown, of the living that abounds, of the church and the announcements. It's doing what counts. The underground sound is the voice within, to give ear to the spirit and to flee from sin, to live for Jesus and the praise of him, by not selling out for the praise of men, to do whatever it takes, no matter what the cost, to keep pushing up the weight, carrying the cross, straight bench pressing sin, defend the word that lacks, and your best mention him, or then you're gon' die. Cause the underground sound in a city or a town, the business of a crown, of the living that abounds, of the church and the announcements. It's doing what counts, the underground sound in a city or a town, the frown.
Thank you for watching today's podcast, Safe but Savage. The goal of the podcast today is to start the journey of Pete's all-time world record in powerlifting and Julius's all-time world record in the bench press. Pete is going to total over 2,200 pounds for sure, 100%. That's happening. And Julius is going to bench press over 800 pounds. We want to get these guys together so that they can train with each other, hold each other accountable, motivate each other, and produce some content for you guys to watch. You know, they're going to train together regardless, but we want to make it that they don't have to spend any of their own personal money. So, if you could support the project by buying my book, Scott Strong, got plenty of copies available. Email me at scottgotgod@gmail.com, and you can PayPal to pay for it, and I'll mail that out to you right away. It's a good workout program to get you guys started on training. It's fun, something different if you've been training for a while, and it will lead you towards other programs. Pete offers online personal training. If you want to do that, you could reach out on YouTube, go to his YouTube channel, comment, say, I want to do personal training with you, and say, hey, I want this money to go towards supporting you and Julius training together. And, you know, that will help with that. Or you could reach out to Julius. He has programs as well, and say, look, I want to help support Pete and you coming together and training with each other and making some content so I could follow along with the journey and seeing you guys manifest something great. So thanks again. And if you do that, it would help us out a lot. And just so the viewers know, so Pete is filming from his gym. That's his nice new state-of-the-art gym there. And
no, that's my basement.
Julius is in his shower currently. Behind him is his shower.
No, it's kind of like a walk-in closet, but it's big enough to be like my office, just to kind of let you know that. What are you in, your mansion? Huh? You in the White House?
I'm in my mansion. I have my gym right over here. Yeah, I just flew in on my private jet, got done with the president. It's going to be fine. Don't worry.
I feel like we're underdressed. Where's your suit coat at, Pete?
Yeah, I just got a T-shirt on. I'm like, got my Pioneer shirt, you know.
They don't make the neck sizes that big.
No. Well, actually, they do. I got some suits. So,
really?
Yeah, man. There's a place called DXL. They do custom clothing also.
Wow.
So for those big guys out there, husky and handsome.
So what is this story about you guys? How did you guys meet each other? I don't know.
Yes, it was just at the Arnold 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Julius had literally just hit 700 in competition, 700 raw bench, and he was just standing outside the cage, and I'm like, wait, what? I'm like, this isn't right. Like, he should be in the freaking cage. He just benched 700, fifth person in history. So I'm like, dude, you got to get in here. Like, this isn't. I don't know why you're standing out there. No one's invited you in, and it just so happened that I think it was James Strickland got injured that day. Like, he was supposed to lift in the cage that day, and he wasn't. His pec was feeling off or something, and so they asked Julius, they're like, "Hey, you want a bench?" And he wasn't ready for it at all. He had literally just competed, not ideal conditions whatsoever. He's like, "Sure," gave it a go, threw up 700 again, and look where he is now. So it's like, it's just crazy to
it
see
was.
how far you've come.
Oh yeah, definitely. It was. I mean, the crazy thing about it is, before that, like nobody really knew who I was.
No.
Very few people. I mean, like I think I probably had like 4,000 followers on IG, 5,000 followers, and from that point, from the cage, from meeting Pete, going into the cage, lifting at the cage, it just took off from there. And that was what 2018. So whenever the Arnold was then, so March, the end of February 2018. But man, everything kind of like snowballed and just blew up. And I've been on a high and hit the ground running ever since.
Now I know you guys have answered this question already before, but how did you guys get into powerlifting initially? Like, how did you guys get involved in the sport of powerlifting or just even the training, powerlifting?
Well, for me, long story short, I was in rehab and, going to work every day and it was something new for me, was just holding a regular 9 to 5, And because I supplemented for so long, I was just experiencing just long seasons of like depression. And I found that like lifting weights just helped me deal with that. And before I knew it, I went from just being average to extremely strong. And that's just where it all started. That kind of led me to do my first competition was, after I seen how strong I was, I reached that point. So that was about, I think, 2014, maybe 2013, 2014. I did my first competition in 2014. That's what it was.
What was your bench at your first meet?
525. Yeah. So I got busted in June of 2012. I was locked up for like 6 months. Got out. All of 2013 pretty much worked out. Went from here's a funny thing. So every single day I would bench, like 225, 3 sets of 10, overhead press 3 sets of 10, curls 3 sets of 10, skull crushers 3 sets of 10, every single day. Probably about 8 months of this, me and a couple buddies were in this basement of that's where I started training at, in a basement with a dirt floor. It was like a dungeon. The facility that I was at, it was like a remodeled, like a historian home, and it was just really, really old place. And there was a bench and some old weights down there, but I got to a point to where we were just down there just talking and getting ready to work out, and it was like, I bet you can't lift every single weight down here. And I was like, all right, let's do it, pretty much along those lines. And we added on every single weight that was in the basement, loaded on the bar, and I repped it for like 3 reps. And I've never went over like 375 ever at this point. And I hit it for like 3 reps. And again, after we added it up, it was like 505 pounds. And it was just, I mean, once I explained or told a few people what I did, they were just blown away. I had no idea. I lifted weights in high school here and there, but when it came to lifting weights, I had no idea what I was doing. You know, just doing what I've seen in high school sports or what I've seen on TV. You know, from what I have seen. But from there, you know, it just again just that I was just fixated on trying to get stronger and stronger and stronger. You know, that I guess the insanity or that mentality kicked in to where I was willing to do whatever I needed to do to make sure, you know, I was top at my game.
Do you like? I know I'm gonna add in some questions. Do you like?
No, it's good. It's good.
What when you're getting ready, you know, for the 770 or whatever? Do you feel like? Do you call on anger? Do you call on? What do you call on to do that? Like Eddie Hall when he was lifting, because a lot of people want to compare you to. People want to compare you as Eddie Hall doing 1100 as the king of deadlifts, and you as the king of bench 770. And Eddie went to a very dark place, and so no one's really gotten into the mindset with you of like what it got you going.
I mean, there's multiple things, but I guess the main thing that I go back to is being in a jail cell with no hope, no future, no vision of anything. I just remember that feeling of what it was like, and now that I'm in this position, it's like I got to give it every bit of energy that I have. Like it's not just about me; it's about the people that depend on me. Like I'm in a large recovery community of people who's not just like addicted to drugs, but just people who've just fell on the wrong side of the tracks. And to them, I'm a beacon of hope. So, and I know that to some it may sound kind of corny, but really that's kind of who the identity that I've adapted is just being that beacon of hope for people, showing others that, hey, look, it's possible to come from this and end up, you know, doing this, you know. So to directly answer your question, there's many things that are running through my head. There's so many things, but that's ahead of it. Like I want to be the best at what I do, and I'm gonna say, and a lot of it too is keeping in mind the hate that I get all the time. And people think that like hate bothers me. I guess wrongly, no, but hate inspires me. It motivates me. When people hate on me or throw shade or however you want to call it, it fires me up to use that as fuel to, you know, to do something that no man has ever done. And I'm going to use that once I go into, you know, eventually going to strongman. Then I want to lose weight. So I've already got my 5 and 10-year plan already set out, you know. So it's kind of delayed.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's my connection or what.
That's interesting because, like, what's that? No,
I said I don't know if it's my. Okay.
No, you can go. You can go ahead.
No, I'm done. Go ahead.
No, I mean, I think the interesting thing there is, like you said, 5 and 10-year plan, and like a lot of people don't have that long-term mindset in mind as far as mapping things out that far. So the long-term goal thing, that's interesting. But as far as for like me, you know, I just started half my life ago. I'm 28 years old now. I started when I was 14 in my parents' basement. Wow. And I was just and that's the thing, like a lot of people don't realize how young I am because I've just been around so long and I've been doing this so long. So like my body has a lot of wear and tear on it. My hips are all jacked up, my back, like I'm trying to continue going, but my body's kind of like breaking down and making things harder on me. So it's a constant battle personally now to keep pushing and trying to get better and refine things because my body's literally like been through so much. It's fighting me now. But I love this sport and I want to keep it going. But yeah, I started when I was 14 in my parents' basement. Total social outcast. Didn't really have friends in school. I was kind of like sheltered in the sense that I never partied, never went out, never drank alcohol. My parents were pretty strict. They didn't allow that sort of thing. And I just would, instead of going out on the weekends or anything like that, instead of going out on the weekends, hey, Lucy. Or this is how it always ends. No, instead of going out on the weekends, I would go in my parents' basement and lift for 3 hours on a Friday night, Saturday night, whatever. That's how I spent my time. And I channeled that fuel as far as I felt like people disrespected me. I felt like people didn't think anything of me. Like I never got bullied, but I was just wandering around like no one paying attention. And I'm like, I'm going to show you guys I'm going to be something. And that's the mindset I always had in those basement years. And that's what carried me through and gave me the passion to where I'm now. So, you know, even during much of the basement footage, like I was natural. It was just an inner fire. And that fire I can't even replicate to this day. So it kind of sucks in the sense that you know how deep you can get into this and you can't call upon that now. Like I can't call upon that fire because it's not the same circumstances in life. I'm older now. It's just not there. So I have to change my philosophy to a more well thought out technical approach where I'm more even keel, because the rage and raw passion isn't quite where it was, but I still love this. It's just not the same. I'm not at the same point in life. Things are kind of worked themselves out, and I don't have as much of a chip on my shoulder.
Yeah, so I mean, and I get where you're coming from, and I kind of went through a season of that, but man, it's crazy because between like this, what was it, the 740, the 744. Whenever I hit that, it was almost like I lost my love for the sport for a second. You know what I mean? Like I couldn't fire myself up. Like even my coach was like, "Man, what's wrong with you? Like, why are you like you're not into it like you usually are? You're not, you know." And I had to like sit down and self-assess and figure out like, why am I not, you know, where's that passion that I had whenever I did the 739? Like I was so gassed up, I could have ran through a wall, you know. But the strength was still there. Now somehow, you know, doing the 770, like it was there, like I felt it. You know what I mean? I knew it, and that's why, like, I'm trying to continue to push the envelope in this season now, because there's going to come a time where that runs out, like you're saying. Like your body starts to break down. Your mental awareness, like when it comes to that stuff, it's not firing as it usually does. So I'm just on a roll right now, and I want to get this 800-pound bench press here soon, because you know, time, you know, it's a short window, you know, and or a small window, short time period that I got to be able to do this. So I have to, you know, continue to be in tune. So this quarantine thing is kind of put a damper on it a little bit, because simply, like, I can't just call on 6 guys to come spot me. They're not allowed, you know. So, well, I say 6 guys, 5 guys to come spot me, you know. So that's probably the only part that I've really noticed in my programming, is not having my spotters there to spot me doing heavier weight. So now I'm already in a season where I'm starting to peak. So now we have to dial it back. And like, I can feel it in my bones. I know it's there. Like if I was to go, if you said, look, we're going to set up 800-pound bench, when are you ready? I would say, give me 5 days from today and I'm ready to go. You know, that's where I'm at with it right now, you know? So I'm chomping at the bit, you know, that's where I'm at with it. But that's a good point about like manifesting that energy. Where does it come from? And maybe that's something that I haven't really thought through, but I felt it. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, that's cool, man. Chael, Pete knows I know Chael Sonnen, the MMA fighter, and Chael always talks about how, you know, your passion it runs out one day, and then you have to rely on discipline. It's like it's just not gonna carry you all the way probably to the end of your career, you know.
Yeah. Oh, I get it. And I remember those videos. A buddy of mine, like, it's funny because a buddy of mine showed me Pete's videos maybe like a month before the cage. So that's I mean, I kind of knew who he was already, but he was like, man, look at I think you posted a video of like your progression over the years in the basement, just from, you know, the first time you really started recording your videos all the way to current time. But I just remember even like your energy was so like fire, it resonated. Like people could watch that video and feel it. You know what I mean? And that's something that like money can't buy that. That's something that's so valuable, and most people will never get to experience that type of feeling in their life. And that's what keeps us going in the midst of when we break record after record or PR after PR. That's the insanity that I'm talking about, that we keep chasing it, you know? So I don't know, maybe I'm just rambling on, but yeah, I wanted to mention that.
No, you're not at all. And that's honestly, it's the greatest gift, but it's the greatest curse, because I can't replicate it anymore. I can't get it. I love this sport as much as I ever have, but I cannot get into that mindset to save my life. It's just, it was like, it was there for that period of time in my life when things were the way they were. And now I can't do anything about it. It's like Scott said, I have to rely now on discipline and trying to master technique and start from scratch and work up and just be as consistent and methodical as I can, because I can't get by in that sheer aggression. And I loved it. It was like you said, it's you feel so alive. There's no feeling like it. And I look back at that and I'm like, I try everything to get there, and it's just not quite there where it was. So it's really interesting now. You know, here we are, I'd say roughly 6 years later from that point in time, and it's just so much has changed that it's really hard to do. It comes in seasons. You know, life is ups and downs. It comes in seasons. Things change. You're not the same person. Every 7 years or so, they say you literally become a different type of person as far as your goals and what you're after, what you're about. And it's like that just that's happened now. And I think maybe part of that is just for the sake of longevity, of saving myself from destroying my body completely. I'm having to like dial back my mentality and almost be smarter with my approach. So that could be part of it, but it's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was trying to think of guys to compare you guys to earlier, and the only guy that I could think of, to compare to you, Pete, and I was like amazed that I thought of somebody. I was like, whoa, is Chuck Vogelpohl. He kind of had that same aura of just like really insane intensity, and he was known for that. And I remember I was a huge fan of that guy when I first got into powerlifting. I was really young. I was just a kid, and I got the magazines, Powerlifting USA, and I was like, this guy's freaking awesome, because he had that kind of attitude. And I can't think of anybody else that has that type of quality like that. And then with you, Julius, Bill Kazmaier kind of actually reminded me of you, because he's the only guy I think that ever was that far ahead of everybody else.
Yeah.
I think he was the bench press. I think he took the bench press from like 6 to 660 or something, if I'm correct.
My last time speaking to Bill Kazmaier, like you could tell like his love for the sport, like how he went into like, we met down in Orlando a couple months back earlier this year, and he went to like another person. You know what I mean? Like his passion, the way he was describing it, and how detailed he was just about the human body. You could just tell, like, man, it was like his mindset and how he, attacks the game or the sport, however you want to put it. But it's different. You don't see a lot of people that have that same, or that can relate along those lines when it comes to the mindset and everything that comes along with it. But he was very interesting to talk to. Very interesting. He's the one that like kind of helped me understand like the way my thought process about me, like thinking it like, Julius, that's what he kept saying to me. He's like, you are a machine. You're a machine. Like your arms are hydraulic pumps. Like he was so intense. I'm just like, I'm ready to go lift weights right then and there. You know what I mean? And he went into the matrix almost, like, you know what I mean? Like it was so, I don't know. It's very rare that I come across somebody that immediately can fire me up to like what Pete's talking about, like that can get me to that point to where like I'm ready to rumble. You know what I mean? But some people can bring that out of you, and that's what I was going to add to you, Pete. Like, yes, in this season you may not feel like it, but I think it always comes full circle. I think it'll come back. You know what I mean? But it's always that one person that's going to bring it out of you. You never know who it's going to be. Somebody's going to come across your path, and it may be just for one more shot, but it's coming. It's going to come back. It's going to come back. Let's speak it, man. You know. So I hope that for you, man, because there's nothing like I love to see everybody win around me. I'm not that type of guy that just because like when people tell me they're like, oh well, so and so Eddie Hall said he's gonna break the world record and now like Brian Shaw's coming for the world record. I don't care, good for him, because it's not gonna do anything but make me raise my level of commitment and my level of dedication, and I'm gonna go get what I've sought out to get, you know. So yeah, man, I just wanted to add to that a little bit, man. Like I think that just keep the mindset that you have now and just keep cracking away at it and speak life, man. Like it's coming. It's gonna come back. You're gonna find that fire, even if it's just for one more season for you to go all out on your next meet or next couple meets. You know, we just have to look at it that way. Just think about it. And that's kind of what Bill was telling me too. And I'm just like, man, I just felt like I left out of there so inspired that I knew I was ready to take it to the next level from then on, you know.
So like the mindset part of it is huge to you, because that's something I've struggled with in recent years as far as getting that self-confidence back in my lifting. It's just I've had some ups and downs with training, with injuries, with meets, and sometimes that confidence isn't there per se. That attitude of like, I'm just going to destroy things. I'm going to run through this wall. I could if I wanted, just like you said. So that's a huge part of the game for you, is what you're saying.
Oh yeah, your confidence is everything. I went from in the past year, I went from being the most like self-conscious, like so critical about myself and what I was doing. And like I remember when people would come up to me and they'd be like, "Hey, when are you gonna break that record?" I would be like, I don't know, maybe at this meet or maybe at this meet. I don't know. I would be kind of like shy away from it, like I was scared to speak it to existence. And I went from like just being so lax to, you know, something happened, a switch flipped to where I was like, I'm done taking the back seat. I'm created for this. Like we were built for this, man. Like nobody, and I remember nobody's doing what we're doing. So it's like you only live once. You know that quote that everybody says, you know, like, but I look at it like you only get this one season to lift. You know, I mean, like this season. I mean, a long season, like, and you know, one day, you know, the gift probably will be taken from us. So that means that I need to be doing everything in my power to make sure I take it as far as I can before the gift is taken. You know, so mindset is everything. Like we're created to do great things. Pete, you have a certain level of greatness inside of you that you probably still haven't tapped into, but a lot of it, I'm not saying that the injuries aren't real, but a lot of it is you hold back because you may be like, I don't want to take the chance in this and I don't want to do this, when sometimes, you know, that breakthrough is right there. Right before you, that 99th knock, the door is going to be open and the breakthrough's right there, but we're like, I'm just going to take a couple steps back because I'm not really feeling it. And it was whenever I said, forget it, I'm doing it. I don't care what I got to put my body. That's that mental, that insane mentality. And that's why I call it the irregular mentality, that I'm going to get the job done. I'm going to get this 800-pound bench. Nothing's going to stop me. Not the coronavirus, not anything. I don't care what people on YouTube are saying, what people on Instagram are saying. I'm telling y'all, it's going down. You know what I mean? And I have to be that way. And it's not like I'm being cocky or arrogant. I'm speaking that and I'm saying that in that manner because when I speak it out, I feel it. It makes me believe it myself. So I'm not just talking to everybody. Like I'm talking to Julius, like you are the man, you know, and because ultimately people will say that conflicts with your beliefs and stuff. And how can you be kind of arrogant and cocky? You're changing, you're being different. No, I'm not being different. I'm just accepting what I've been created to do, and I'm created to mess some stuff up, and that's what I'm gonna go out there and do. I'm causing chaos and havoc, and I want people to see these feats of strength that nobody has ever done. So that's you can tell, like I'm in my house yelling, like I'm getting fired up right now.
You're getting me fired up. I'm like ready to go lift.
And that's what I'm talking about. It's still there. It's still there. It's just we have to be able to. It may come in different forms. Like it took my boss of my 9-to-5 job, telling me and helping me really embrace who I was. Like I'm gonna tell you real quick, and I know I'm rambling on, but I know that whenever I hit that 705-pound bench, I had way more in me that day, right? But I didn't believe it. I was so like on the fence about it. You know what I mean? But it wasn't till I started being sure about myself that like I started experiencing some of the biggest breakthroughs I've ever had. I mean, it's crazy. Just by me just saying like I'm getting the job done no matter what. Today I'm obsessing over these things. My bench, whatever my programming says today, I'm obsessing over these things, and it just somehow like my body and my mind just making these connections to where I'm just firing on all cylinders. Then it took me a long period of time to get to where I'm really making myself and really feeling confident. A lot of people probably thought I was crazy because I'm talking to myself. I'm in the gym talking to myself. Like one more rep, you got it. Let's get it. You know what I mean? Like just this crazy stuff, but something beautiful happened in that. And I don't know. It's just, but I want to share this with everybody. I want people to get on the same vibration as me, however you want to put it, the same wave, the same feeling. But again, it's there, Pete. I'm telling you, it's there. You just have to find a way to deal with the problems you have and get past it.
Yeah, I mean, I got freaking hyped up listening to that. My goodness, it's crazy to see we could hear the passion come out on the screen. I mean, that's what I'm talking about. So that's awesome. And like you kind of said, like, you know, it's almost like we hold ourselves back. And I think the last full power meet I did was a year and a half ago, and I tore my quad, and that messed me up. And then it was literally 2 months later, I'm at a meet, and I saw Mark Miller, 800 pounds on the bar, snap both his quad tendons at the same time on a squat. And I'm not gonna lie, that messed me up real bad. Like I was 15 feet away from the guy when he snapped both his quad tendons, and he's writhing around on the floor for 30 minutes. And I literally was like, holy, and I just torn my quad with 783 in a meet. So ever since then, I haven't been the same. Like I've literally been almost, I'm not, you know, I'm man enough to admit it. I've almost been like scared of squatting heavy because I've seen this and I know my hips jacked up. So I think it's like you said, I got to just kind of take that step and go for it and just, you know, let loose and not hold back and almost, you know, whether anything happens or not, we're going to go for it again. So I can 100%, that resonates with me. These self-limiting beliefs we place on ourselves. And they could be for a good reason. They could be self-imposed, but we need to break through them.
Yeah. I mean, I think too, it's just proven that we are greater than sometimes than what our own limitations that we set on ourselves. You know, because like again, I'm so critical on myself, and I've noticed I went through a season where I let the world, everybody else around me, set my limitations, and somehow subconsciously I picked it up and I started setting my own limitations. Like I don't know if I'll be able to do that. When somebody first approached me about an 800-pound bench, my brother told me that, and I'm like, man, you're crazy. 800 pounds? No, you're crazy. But again, something in that process to where the switch flipped, and I just went full steam ahead, and I said, look, you know, I put it this way, Pete, and I say this all the time, but I don't want to be the guy that looks back 10 years or looks back whenever, when I get older and looks back and says, man, I knew I had it in me. I wish I would have just, you know, gave it a little more. You know, I don't want to be that guy. I want to be the guy that says, thank God that I gave every bit of energy, effort towards whatever I did. Now look at where I'm at today. Whether, yes, you're going to have some bumps and bruises, some war wounds, but at the end of the day, when you give up on something you love, when you quit something you love, or you don't give 100% to something that you absolutely love, you will live with that for the rest of your life. For the rest of your life. When you get older and time passes by and you can't lift like you used to, like literally, like you can't even, put 600 pounds, 400 pounds on the bar, you will live with that for the rest of your life. And I'm not going to be that guy. I'm going to get full steam ahead regardless. In this season, I'm going to make it happen. So, and that's kind of what to hone everything in, that's the thought process, is that I don't want to be, whenever I get older, I don't want to look back and say, man, I wish I would have followed up on that, and I wish I would have gave it a little. I wish I would have gave it more, because I knew I had more in me. You have more in you, so it's just about being plain. Now, you got to be smart about it. You know what I mean? I don't mean just go to the gym and just go balls to the wall and go crazy, but just like everything, it's a process. But as far as the mindset, it's what we got to break through. Is the mindset, not your body, your mindset.
Makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, haven't you hit some PRs for reps and stuff, Pete, fairly recently?
Yeah. I had that 816 for 4 deadlift. But I think it's been about 3 years now since I guess it's been a little over 2 years. Literally 26 months since my last PR total. So sometimes that gets in your head. You're like, man, it's been so long since I hit anything, and your body feels a little off, and it just gets difficult. But it's like Julius said, I think a lot of it does start with the mind, and you can still have a smart approach, but you need to start, getting that belief system back and living it. And one other thing that's kind of interesting to me, it's almost like, from my experiences and what I've seen with others, the hunger is much stronger when all eyes aren't on you, when you feel like people have forgotten about you, or people don't know about you, and you're not in the limelight. For me, it's like my peak limelight time was like 2016, 2017, and everything was blowing up, and everybody was like telling me I was the man. And then since then, things have really tapered off, and it's been a struggle. And it's almost like when you feel like people have turned their backs on you, or they no longer believe in you, that's when that hunger starts to come back. And I'm starting to feel that to an extent, because I've kind of heard it, we've all heard before, it's harder to stay on top than to get to the top. And that's like one of the toughest things. So like Julius, you obliterated the bench record, and yet you're still trying to push for that 800 and make it even crazier. I respect the hell out of that, because I know when I've never accomplished anything anywhere near what you have, but when you're in that position where you're on top, everybody's gunning for you, man. Like everybody, you've got a bullseye on your back. Everybody is coming for you, and everybody wants to beat you, and everybody, that's how it is. So it's really tough, and I respect you for that,
I appreciate it. I just, man, again, I think for me, what sets me apart from, some of the other people that are in my position right now and are trying to still carry it on. I just think that it's supernatural, that this drive and the reason why I'm doing what I'm doing is so much greater. Listen, guys, I love powerlifting, love bench pressing, but I want you guys to understand, I tell this to everybody, my platform outside of the gym is bigger than powerlifting. The kids that I use, as far as that I mentor in the school systems, whether the people that I motivate in my community, that's a lot where it comes from, is me trying to help others find that same passion for something. It don't have to be powerlifting, just the same passion for life, because I'm around people who've forsaken their kids and hadn't had any relationship with their kids, been strung out on meth for 20 years. I'm around people who've been molested their whole life, who, just have some of the worst of the worst. And these people are looking for something to hope in, that maybe that somewhat their life can be a little different than what they've always known. So for me, what keeps me going and keeps me wanting to not just be in the spotlight, but advance is I want to be able to share this experience with everybody else. Does that make sense?
Yes.
I just want, but again, the mental aspect of it is still the same, Pete. We have to continue to you have to find a way to tap in to that old Pete again. It may manifest in a different way, and you may have to use the fact that people counted you out and people kind of turned their backs on you. Use that, because that's the same type of stuff that I use. After I hit that 739-pound bench, I thought, what else next am I going to be able to use? Because initially it was my kids, like the example I was setting for my kids. I would come home every day. My daughter would be like, "Daddy, when are you going to be number one?" And that's all I kept thinking. That was enough. That was enough for me to flip a house. Like, literally, it set fire through my soul. That's probably the most intense I've ever been. But the next meet, I didn't have it. I don't know what it was. I was just there. I still hit a PR, but it was scary because I'm like, I think I lost it for good. You know what I mean? Like, I lost my passion. But somewhere along the lines, I don't know what it was, but I self-evaluated in that short season and picked back up. I suffered an injury and didn't really think I was going to be able to, another injury. I didn't think I was going to be able to bounce back from it, but I did. And I just picked up where I left off at.
Was that from the the high jump injury?
Man, that was before. The box jump was right after the animal cage. So people always clown me because they say, like, all you do is bench. When real, to be honest, like, I'm not bragging about it, but I'm pretty strong in all three lifts. Okay, I never. So put it this way, that meet that I did, the animal cage, hit 705 pounds. Following that, I did a 735-pound squat. And then a week later, I seen a kid doing box jumps. And I was like, heck, I could do that. And then that's when I attempted that box jump. And that right there set me back for almost a year, that box jump. I mean, it's funny. You can laugh about it because I about died. But for the most part, let me tell you what, it really, like, I still experience problems from it. So this pec stays really tight. And that's one of the reasons, the injury that I suffered from the 744 down in Texas, whenever I broke the second time I broke my world record. For some reason, this pec always, it always stays like cramped. I don't know. I've been a specialist. Of course, this AC joint here is shifted, so I have a huge knot on my shoulder, and this is all from the box jump. So, people don't really know about this, but I shifted my AC joint. The doctor told me I would never lift again. This was a year and a half ago. He said, you'll never. He said, do you really want my opinion? You want my advice? He said, you'll never lift heavy again, and you shouldn't lift heavy again. Scott Davenport told me, he said, you only got a couple more 700-pound benches in you, so you might as well go ahead and count your losses. And you know what? Like I said, the mental aspect of it, man. I said, y'all ain't gonna set these limitations on me. I'm not that guy, man. Like, I came from too much just to quit now. I'm just getting started, So I just had to. And the biggest thing was I focused on is that helped me get out of that wasn't just the main movements. What helped me out of it was accessory work and preventative maintenance, just with bands and things like that. So I know I kind of transitioned a little bit, but that's what brought me out of. I feel healed this shoulder. It's not completely healed, but I'm able to lift with it. I'm able to deal with it. So,
have you seen that video, Pete?
I swear I've seen that video. I really didn't realize it was Julius. Like, I saw it so long ago that, but I'm pretty sure I know which one you're talking about. So,
it went viral. They bought the video. This company bought the video from me.
I had forgotten that you were the person in the video because it was so long ago. I'm like, these things blow over. But I'm like, dang, man, that did not look pleasant. I'm gonna have to go back and watch it again because I didn't realize what I didn't realize. I didn't realize it did that much damage. That's crazy. So, you know, here you are with your shoulder and pec aren't that great, and you're still chugging along. So that gives me motivation as far as like my hip and, you know, whatever. We're just gonna give it a shot.
We'll fight through it. Yeah.
That's awesome.
I think this whole pretty much podcast is just summed up to the mindset. You know what I mean? Like is because this is not just about powerlifting. I'm talking about just in life in general. To the average person that just goes through these seasons just in life with family, bills, kids, whatever the case may be, that you're always going to have problems. And mental toughness, like to get through life nowadays, like it has to be high. You have to have some level of mental toughness to overcome this adversity that we face every single day. And we're living in a season right now where everybody's mental toughness is being tested. Everybody. You know, of course, I didn't mention it earlier, but yeah, I'm a bit worried. But for me, like, this is something that that I've practiced over and over again is like I've come from the bottom, and I'm gonna do whatever it takes to make sure that my family's fed, that whoever around me's fed, and that we take care of everybody. You know. Go ahead.
You're good. You're good.
Because there's, I mean, for me, I don't know if you know, you probably don't know much about me. It's just like my whole life, anytime I faced adversity or any problems, I always ran. I always ran. When things got tough, I ran. When, you know, I faced any kind of adversity, when things got tough, I did opposite of what, you know, the average person would do, and that's stand up in the face of adversity, take responsibility head on. I never did that. I never had anybody to teach me those things. So for so long, I ran from those things, and now I'm just at a point to where, you know, it was through my faith and my beliefs, to the point through what I've experienced being in powerlifting is, man, I'm done running, and I'm not going to run. I'm not going to run for myself, you know. But yeah, I get excited talking about life and just inspiring people and people overcoming obstacles, man. It's just, everybody likes a good underdog story.
Well, that's kind of like what David Goggins says, and I followed him for a long time because, you know, I ran a marathon when I was like 14, and I was into ultra running, and I'd heard about this guy long before he kind of blew up, and he's a Navy SEAL ultra runner, and he said the same thing, like he was running from his problems and from life and hiding for so long, and one day he just got kind of fed up with it, and I feel like a lot of people have that story. So
yeah.
How old are you, Julius?
I'm 32.
Okay.
So I started powerlifting at about 26 is when I did my first competition. So I've been in it for, you know, close to 7 years.
Did you think, Pete, because I personally didn't think it was humanly possible for someone to bench press 800 pounds. And then all of a sudden, you know, he's just like, oh, yeah, you know, like 7 whatever is nothing. I'm going to just jump up to 770 real quick. I
literally can't even fathom what that feels like. Like, my brain can't conceive the idea of that in my head because I've never been anywhere close. I'm like, 800-pound raw bench. What the heck? Like, if you would have asked me that, you know, 5 years ago, I'd say no way in hell. That maybe in 100 years, some breakthrough is going to happen with science, and it might be possible. But it's just, oh my gosh. I mean, I haven't even squatted 800 yet, and like I've squatted close to it, and it feels like it's going to kill you. It feels like it's going to taste you. So I'm like holding that over my head. What the actual hell is that like? I mean, I literally think my like bones would snap in half. I mean, I can't. Good Lord.
I mean, Pete, you've actually, you know, you see me in person, so I'm just, to be honest, like I'm a gigantic guy. You know what I mean? So I've always had size, but just like anything else, just building and continue to build on a foundation. And it still, to be honest, guys, it still blows my mind. I'm like, 800 pounds? Like, you're so close, and it's just like, I'm going to be the one to do it. I'm doing it. Like, and again, even whenever I hit 705 and 723, I'm still in shock because that is a lot of weight. That's a crazy, and I don't know how I do it. I mean, I do know how I do it, but it just still blows my mind. But believe me, it's been a lot of hard work and dedication. People think that I just like shoot up a whole bunch of steroids and eat 5,000 cheeseburgers and I'm an 800-pound bencher. Like, you wouldn't believe some of the comments that I see where people don't even think like to get to this level. Like, again, it's insanity. Like, you got to keep in mind too. Like, at one point, I had 3 jobs, 4 kids, and I'm still training. So I caught myself. I would get up in the morning at 6 o'clock in the morning, go to my first job, get off at about 2:30, 3 o'clock, go to that job till about 9:30, 10 o'clock, then go get my lifting on, then back to sleep. I got to spend time with my kids on the weekends. So, I got a wife at home and she's trying to balance everything. It's just like, there came a point to where like I almost mentally broke down, like, period, just from everything going on. I almost just gave up. I think it was 2018, the beginning of 2018, I just wanted to give up powerlifting just because it was too much. But ultimately, I went to the doctor, figured out some things that was going on, and I'm open about it. But I started doing TRT, replacement therapy, and I started feeling a lot better, but mentally, I wanted to just, drain out our savings, pack my bags, and just leave everybody, just because it was so much on my plate. But I didn't know, like, my testosterone levels were under like 300. So that was big too. So that's something that I've talked about. But, I don't just run around telling everybody, like trying to make it a big deal, because that's the big taboo thing. Like, everybody wants to know, is Julius Maddox on steroids, But, for the most part, to the point to where I hit 716 pounds, like, with no supplements at all. So that was, what was that? March, April 2019. So yeah, it wasn't until 2019 is whenever it started. So, but yes, man, I don't even know how I got onto this, but ultimately this progression, before, like, you're talking about competing on low test levels, 3 jobs, all these different things. So that kind of fed into, like, man, I was built for this. I was created to do this. You know what I mean? Like, and why not me? Because part of the self-doubt is like, oh, you can't do this. Just give it up. You need to lose weight anyway. But, or this can't happen to you. But ultimately, man, why not me? So why not me be the first person to bench press 800 pounds?
Yeah, and I could take 5 grams of tren, and I couldn't bench 600 probably. So, like, people love to use that scapegoat, and it's not unless you've actually done it. Like, you guys don't know, it's not going to get you an 800 freaking pound bench press. It's crazy that people want to use that as an out. And I think, we don't know any of this is fact, but so many of the athletes people look up to, well, they're doing stuff too, and it's like nobody wants to believe it. It's just, so it's a little asinine to me that people use that comparison. And, as far as you saying, like, you were benching 716 before supplements and stuff. Another one that, like, comes to mind is Luke Richardson out in the UK. He deadlifted 400 kilos, completely natural, and now he's trying to go after Eddie Hall's all-time record, and he's looking ridiculously strong. So it's just, people with a natural base peak much higher. And, like, John Hack's a good example, and Jamal Browner, and, all these guys, they had a very high natural base, and look what they're doing now. But it's crazy.
Oh yeah, it changed my life. Like, I didn't go in just for the advantage of, like, lifting weights or to help me get ahead of the game. Like, I went in because, like, I wanted to opt out of life. Like, I was so depressed, I can remember going into the gym and just busting out in tears. Like I couldn't stop it, you know. And it's like to a point to where like I love my family, I love my kids, but I wanted to leave my family. I wanted to pack up and just move somewhere far away and just start over. That's how. And I don't even know why. Like my mental state, I don't even know really why. I had no reasons. I've always wanted a big house, cars. I had everything, but you know that just goes to show you like when your hormone levels are off and your body's not performing as it should, like we need certain things in our body, and I don't regret it at all. Doing like getting on testosterone and getting my levels worked on. I mean, like flat out where they need to be. Like it changed my life, like my overall quality of life and how I feel, how I sleep, how I just react with people, just how I feel. And I would advise, like, especially if you're overweight, anybody, like, go get your test result, go get your blood work done, and check and see, because so many things out there. I mean, there's so many people out there that don't know they're experiencing it, and they don't know until it's too late or until they've done something crazy. So the first thing is, check your levels and see where your hormones are. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. What do you think it is that, like, talking about all this stuff, like, what is it that kind of separates you from everybody else, though? Like, why are you so much stronger, do you think? Like, what is the difference between you, and everyone else? And do you think these guys that you're talking about, Eddie Hall or Brian Shaw or say the Kirill Sarachev, do you guys think that these guys can catch up to you and compete with you? So it's you have some competition.
Believe me, I wish them well. It's lonely up here, and I'm not trying to sound arrogant or top, but it's lonely up here at the top. Like I'm not trying to sound arrogant or cocky. Like I want some competition.
You think they can? That's what I'm saying. Like, are you thinking one of these guys are gonna, come and start?
I think Carell could, Eddie could, Brian Shaw could, but the difference is, are they going to want to do what it takes to get there? Because I'm telling you, to get to this point, I mean, you got to understand, these guys have businesses, these guys have sponsorship, these guys got a lot of stuff going on outside of the gym. You have to, like, that's why I keep referring back to, like, this mentality is irregular. It's different. Like, you have to be willing to give up everything, to dedicate everything you have for this cause. And I don't think any of them are willing to give up what they got going on right now to pursue this record. I don't think they are. But the difference is I'm going to set this record so high, ain't nobody going to come for it. There's no possible way unless some giant surfaces from the middle of Alaska that's been in a cave for 40 years and, is ready to go. He's, 30 years is ready to go. I make light because I'm never serious, but it's facts. Like you have to give up everything, to get to this point. So if you're running businesses and you're doing this, like, I mean, it's just a lot. It's a lot. And you can't, the difference is you have to stay in your lane. You can't be doing everything else while training for this, for what we call the bench press, like just because it's so taxing on your body. And that's how I feel about it. But will they? I don't know. Will they do what it takes to shut out everything they got going on in their life to be able to do this? I don't know. But I know what it takes to get there, and it's dangerous. You know what I mean? Like what the stuff that you have to do as far as time away from your family, and which I'm sure probably some of these guys are doing some of that already. But I don't know. My belief is it's tough, man. It's tough giving up all that stuff just to for this. Is it going to be worth it? Is it way out for them? What do you think, Pete?
Well, you can answer that way better than me. I got a question though for you. Like, do you think you'd be at the point you're at now going after this record if you hadn't gone through those dark days as far as the drug abuse and like being in prison? Like, do you think that completely changed your path in life, your trajectory, and that you wouldn't be here if it wasn't for that?
Oh, definitely. I wouldn't if it wasn't for me going through what I went through. I wouldn't be here today. I wouldn't have the same drive in the gym.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like there's something about what I've been through and where I've come from, what it's done to me. But I can't give. But man, I'm like I said, I'm transparent about everything. Like if Jesus Christ didn't change my life, I wouldn't be where I'm at today. I mean, there's no ifs, ands, and buts about it. Like I wouldn't be this record holder. I wouldn't be a dad. Because when it's left up to me and my own vices and what I do, like I break stuff. I run. I'm a runner. I give up, and I would have given up a long time ago. So there's something supernatural too about what separates me from everybody else.
Yeah, and I think it's awesome that you reference your beliefs, because I know like Scott's a big believer himself, and so am I. And I'm not as open about it as I should be. I really am not, and that's something I want to work on as far as like getting the word out about. I'm a Christian. I believe Jesus died for our sins and everything, and we need to be saved, and that message needs to get out to as many people as possible, because I feel like not only does your life improve and you become a better man, you become a better person, things become more clear when you embrace that, but it's just everything changes, and maybe God had to get to you in that way by having you go through what you went through. And I haven't been through anything like that, but I've been through situations myself where a lot of dark days, walking around wondering what direction am I going in life? Do I have anything left? Is this worth it? Like totally questioning everything. And that's how I think he gets to us, through those moments when he humbles us. We have to be humbled before we can unleash our true potential, and I think that's a 100% thing. So,
if I would have got this platform a long time ago, it would have faded away. I probably wouldn't have went as far as I've went, but simply because I went through those things, I've experienced life, and I never want to go back. That's better than anything, man. Just I'm grateful that I experienced it. I'd rather. Because if I probably wouldn't experience what I've experienced, I wouldn't be the man I am today as far as in my community, to my kids, or anything like that, So I'm just grateful, man. I'm happy. And not many people, like, I have peace in my life, and not many people can say that they have like real peace, the peace that money can't buy, So that's what I've always wanted. I wanted to be accepted, and I wanted like real peace, and I've achieved that, and everything else is just a bonus. What we're doing right now, being on this podcast, it's a bonus in life, man, and we should be appreciative of having the opportunity, even in spite of like being in this quarantine and where we can't, we're on curfew or we can't leave. Like it's still a privilege. There's people out there that don't have what we have right now. They will never have a taste of what we have right now. And, I'm just grateful. I don't know. I'm just grateful for it, for life.
Yeah, I can echo those sentiments, because when times get hard, you're like more honed into what's most important. And at the end of the day, like fame, and even fame, attention, all that kind of stuff, it's not money. Doesn't mean much. It's like one thing that makes me like super happy, and I'm super passionate about are my dogs, man. Like I love being around my dogs. That makes me happier than anything. And like Kelly's been a blessing to me, and we've been together like 5 years now. And when I first met her, I was a train wreck, and like seeing how far I've come on a personal level. So I think oftentimes like God doesn't introduce this stuff to us until we're mature enough to be able to handle it. And it's like you said, if he'd given you this strength and this platform 10 years ago, who knows where things would be. And I think I'm in the same boat. I'm a little younger than you, but when I was 23, it's different now. 23 to 28, it's a whole different story.
Yeah. Cool beans. Wow.
Yeah, I like that you use the word supernatural a lot. That's really cool. And I want to ask for two reasons. Pete, I want to ask what your goals are. One, to just hear what your goals are, and two, to just hear Julius like just go off. After,
All right, let's just throw it out there right now because I feel like you kind of challenged me, and like maybe it's like you said, somebody comes along, influences you, and Scott's done that too as well. Scott's gotten into my head before and been like, the Lord is telling me you need to do this, you're gonna do this, and sometimes you need that kick. So like you guys have been there for me, so I'm thinking, I'm gonna give it a year, literally a year, start from ground one, which is what I've been doing. Get my technique honed in and compete next April in a USPA meeting. I'll say it right now. I'd like to do 2204, which is a 1,000 kilo total, and like that's kind of been my life goal as far as like if I could total 2,200, 1,000 kilos, I would be ecstatic. And so we'll throw it out there for next April and make that happen. Just work
I'm
towards
speaking
it. Yeah, make it
22
happen.
plus. 22 plus, we're gonna make it happen, man. Like we're not allowing ourselves, we're not allowing people around us to set our limitations. Like it's gonna happen. Like it's gonna happen, Pete. You're gonna total 1,000 plus kilos, man. Like there's nothing that's gonna stop you. I mean, we're gonna see you ripping weight off the ground. We're gonna see you pressing. We're gonna see you squatting. It's just about, how bad do you want it? How bad does Pete want it? Like you've been in the spotlight before. Yeah.
I mean, what's cool about that is 804 squat, 501 bench, 904 deadlift, boom. It's like, does it get any better than that? So those are the numbers. That's what I want. That would make me fired up. So
don't fixate so much on the numbers. Like,
okay.
But we're thinking about PRs. Like I don't care. We're like I said, you're setting limitations on yourself already.
All right.
We're going above it. Like in all areas, I mean this. Like in all areas, you are gonna improve, bro. Like, but again, don't set limitations on yourself. Get the numbers out the window. I never think about numbers. Really, I really don't. I don't think about the number until they call for my attempt. I'm like, I don't know what you have for us to do today, but I know I know, right? But one thing I do know is we're about to show up and show out. Like it's that time, man. Like, and put it this way, one of my favorite verses, I think it's Psalm 40. It says, you heard my cry, my King and my God. You pulled me out of a pit of the merry bog and set my feet up on a rock. What does that mean? How do we apply that to our life? Well, you was in a pit. You was down. You was beaten. You was broken. And he pulled you out of this pit and set you on a rock, meaning he gave you a platform. Why would he give you a platform? For you to show everybody his glory and his riches and what he's going to do in your life. Like, I mean this, and we have to believe it. You have to take it and run with it, like, and embrace those bad days. And you might have a few hiccups here and there, but like, you have to move past it. I'm gonna be at your neck, bro. You told me this. Like, I'm free. I don't have a job anymore. I'm gonna be at your neck, bro. So, like, but this is why and again, this is divine. This is how all of a sudden, out of a few messages and a few things in life, like, we're connected right now. You know what I mean? So, like, what I mean is, I just don't want to see you hit a 2,200-pound plus total. I want to see you be on that platform and show people that how mighty God is and what he can do. Where he can take you from seasons to where you pretty much not just counted yourself out, but everybody else counted you out too. And God can take you and show you this and show you what, show you some things in your life that maybe, you should have changed or you could have changed, and where you're at, and I mean, glorified, man. And again, I don't want to try to be too spiritual about it, but I'm just telling you, there's a reason why we're having this conversation, and there's a reason why we talked about mindset and breaking through these mental plateaus, and it's there for you, man. And I can't wait because I'm rooting for you. And man, I'm definitely excited. You got me fired up. I wouldn't plan on lifting, but I'll probably lift when my wife gets home. I'm going to get some work in. I don't care if it's accessory work. Like that's one of my favorite things to do. Fun fact: Julius loves accessory work just about more than the lift itself, like than the main movement. I don't know why. I guess because that's the meat and potatoes of it. But I love accessory work. I love working on my weak points. I don't know if to me that makes sense in my head. I don't know, maybe not. I ramble on a lot anyway. So
no, I'm gonna say this is the I've done many podcasts and many things. This is the craziest, coolest, most insightful one I've ever done with you guys. I feel like things are coming out that I never would have expected. That's going way beyond the superficial stuff, way beyond the surface level. And this is this people need to see this because holy crap, my mind's blown, and I'm hearing stuff I never thought. So this is blowing me away right now. But I just want to get back to one thing you said. Like you don't think about numbers. You literally just can you expand on that a little bit? Like
so
if you're getting ready for a meet or whatever, you're literally just like. What's the mindset with that? There's no numbers thought of. You think
I mean,
I'm
sorry. I'm just to a point where, like, I don't. Before, every time I placed a number on something and I set that limitation, it seemed like I never got it. You know what I mean? Like, it seemed like it was so challenging. Whenever I was like, look, I have to try to get this weight. You know?
Yeah.
But it wasn't until like I took all the pressure off. And was like, look, it is what it is. I know I've put in the work. Of course, I gotta give them my lift, whatever I'm gonna lift or project to lift at the lift off, and I'm not lift off, but first attempt, and whatever I get after. But I don't fixate on numbers. Like so, through my whole prep or however you want to put it, like I'm not like, all right, hey, this next meet. But of course, too, it's easier for me because I'm not doing the big 3 lifts, you know, but for the most part, I don't have a number on what I'm projecting to do at that point in time. So it's not real. We have a roundabout maybe 3 or 4 days before the meet, but that could change too. It's changed many times. So it's just I don't want to set those limitations on myself. I just want to blow my own mind. You know what I mean? Like I want to go in there and that's where that mental. Like we talked about that irregular mindset of like, we are going to do something that no one, it's not just about that no one has ever done, that no one ever thought that we could do. You know what I mean? So I don't know. That's just something that I've done. I've been doing that ever since after 720, after failing at Boss of Bosses those 2 times. I quit putting numbers on my meets. Like you know what I mean? I just quit doing it. Now given, when somebody would say, hey, look, are you going to break the world record? Yes, but I'm not putting a number on it. I don't know what it's going to be, how far above it's going to be, but just know I'm going to break it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's one of the coolest things I've ever heard because it goes against what everybody else does and what the general conventional thought is. So you kind of blew my mind with that because I've never even thought of it on those terms as far as like, you just go with it and you try to get as strong as possible and you don't limit yourself. That's very cool.
Yeah. How many times have you seen people, like a client or a friend or someone in powerlifting, and this, you know, for the most part, have their mind fixated on these numbers and they continue to fail after lift after lift, just trying to really, they think so much about the numbers that they lose sight of just like the reason why they're there and why they're trying to have fun. You know what I mean? Why they're trying to have fun. So I don't know.
Yeah. That's me to a T. That's how things have been. So it's, I mean, I can't lie. Like that's what's up. So that's a very cool perspective because I don't know if I ever even explored that thought process. Like, do you? And you know, when you're benching 770 pounds, is there any fear with the weight? Is there a respect with the weight? Like, do you fear the weight at all? Is there anything where you're like, holy crap, this could snap, you know, this could tear my pec? Or is there like 100% confidence and like?
Now there is 100% confidence.
Okay.
Whatever's gonna go wrong is gonna happen. I mean, I'm just saying, like, if it's gonna go wrong, it's gonna go wrong. But while we're in the moment, let's make the best of it. Like, that's the best way to put it. If it's gonna go wrong, it's gonna go wrong. But you don't forget, like, we've prepared for these moments. Like, so we start second guessing. Why am I second guessing when I'm the one that put myself through hours and hours of weight training, like literally blood, sweat, and tears? So why am I second guessing myself at this point? It's fourth quarter with 5 seconds on the clock. Would I be second guessing? Do you think Michael Jordan second guesses in the huddle whenever they're like, look, there's 5 seconds on the clock. Like, you've done this. The ball's coming to you. You think Michael Jordan was like, but we have, in order for us to be great and be the greats of the sport, we can't second guess ourselves. So I quit setting limitations on myself. I quit second guessing myself. And I said, I'm going to get the job done at all costs. Like, I'm going to do it. So whenever I had that mindset is when I started seeing some of the biggest breakthroughs in life. Whenever there's something about whenever a man makes his mind up and says, look, I've been through this and we've had so many problems in this direction, so many problems in this direction, but now I'm just going to brush my sleeves up and I'll pull my sleeves up and I'm going to do what I got to do to get the job done. Like, and it's whenever we embrace those moments, like saying whatever it is I got to do, I'm going to do it. And maybe that was a poor analogy or whatever, but whatever a man's got to do, a man's got to handle his business. So when the way I look at it, and I'm thinking with my headphones on and the beats just in the background, and I'm just going through the motions, I'm like, it's time. This is what you were created for. Let's go out here and let's get this money. And it may be kind of like people probably look at me and think like, man, what does Julius be talking about? Because I talk about this a lot, just the mindset and how I get myself hyped up for a meet and just in general. But like, Pete, think about all the hard work you put in to get to that point. And again, we're second guessing ourselves whenever it matters. So just get out there and be like, look, I'm about to show y'all, watch this. And that's kind of how I am now. I don't, and I want to say it had to be God-given, like just accepting who I am today and what I've been created to do. And that's it. Because ultimately, everything that we're doing, whether powerlifting, this podcast, whatever we're doing in life, this all glorifies God and what He's done in our life. So He's going to get glory for this. He's going to get glory for Pete's been in this pit for, a few years, and he's going through it, and now he's back. Like, will the real Pete please stand up? Where's the basement Pete at, guys? We haven't seen the basement Pete in a while. Will he please stand up? No, seriously, like, but you have to enjoy it and say, we're going to get there no matter what, man. Like, you have to, and that even requires looking back at some of your old videos and just, again, self-assessing. Like, what is the difference? Because I think now you have more leverage than you did before. You're smarter. You have more wisdom. Yeah, your body may be broke, but there's always ways around it, bro. Always ways around it. So it's about you figuring out how you can overcome this obstacle, this Goliath in your life, how you can overcome it and become the best version of Pete. And you might, and I'm not going to say you might, you're going to shock yourself. You're going to shock yourself. But just be safe whenever you're doing it. So find that balance of being safe, but be a savage. That's a new T-shirt. Safe but savage.
There you
know
go.
What I mean? Like, you just have to find that medium, man. But I give all credit to accessory work, man. Like, really, I mean, you're a coach. Just stick to working on your weak points, and I mean, lots of volume, just lots of work, and I'm gonna tell you this: you're giving yourself a year. Why a year? You're setting limitations. Again, like really, I promise you, you can ask my coach, you can ask everybody around me. I quit doing that stuff, man. Unless I have to, unless it's like a set meet, they're like sponsors and all this stuff. But for the most part, man, I stay prep ready, ready 365. Literally within 3 to 4 weeks, like I stay ready. So,
I'll be honest, I was just gonna wait till next year to hop on cycle again. So I was just giving my body.
Oh, okay.
I mean, being straight up, like
that's different. But see, I don't. I mean, like, apart from like TRT, like I don't do a lot of stuff like it, and it's very low dosage. So I don't know about cycling on and cycling off. But one thing I do know is once you get to that point to where your body's ready, like, don't even set limitations for yourself. Like, when you find a meet, maybe 3 or 4 months out, because how many times have you been in a prep, everything's going fire, and you're still like 4 months out?
Yeah, and then when you plan a meet, things are going crappy, and it's like
exactly. So I stopped psyching myself. So whenever I know I'm ready and I got consecutive training sessions to where like everything's firing on all cylinders, but I'm ready to go, I shock myself. I'm 3 weeks out from a meet. I see a meet. It's 3 weeks out, 4 weeks out. Josh, let's go. We're going to sign up. Let's do it. And since I've been doing that, man, I quit setting limitations on myself, man. We're ready to go. I'm ready to go, man, at any time. So I don't know. Maybe there's some bits and pieces that you can take. Everybody's different. But I'm just telling you, just be ready. Be ready. And make sure, and here's a big thing for you too. I don't know as far as like your training regimen and what you're doing, but when your body tells you to rest, rest. I don't care if it's taking a week off. I don't care if you're in the middle of your prep and your body is so beat up, take a week off. Your body is, and this is, here we go again. You got me back. The way we are created, really, like the anatomy of the human body is so great how it heals itself through time and proper meditation and just doing the right things. Like your body will find a way to heal itself. I'm speaking life over you, bro. And at the end of the day, just take care of your body. Rest when your body's telling you to rest. And whenever you decide to compete, it's gonna be a sight to see. It's going down. I'm calling it. You're gonna call me after that meet and say, "I love you, dude. Thank you for the words of encouragement because, I've never seen this coming. I just threw a curveball, and I told you I was doing it. So like, let's get ready, man. Let's get ready. 2020, 2021, whatever. Coronavirus in, coronavirus out. It's going down, man. So believe it. Believe it with everything you have in you, man. I think Scripture tells us a man thinketh is his thoughts. A body of motion stays in motion. This is not Scripture, but a body of motion stays in motion. A body of rest stays in rest. So even famous philosophers, whether they stole it or not, like again, body of motion stays in motion, body of rest stays in rest. We think what we think, our thoughts become reality. That stuff is true, man. Like, it is so true. Put it this way. I caught myself one time, I was like, I hadn't lifted a weight. This was like right after I hit one of these big lifts. And somebody was talking about like a meet. And I was like, oh yeah, I'm ready for a meet. And immediately when I said I'm ready for that meet, like my tricep started twitching. And I'm like, is there something wrong with my tricep? That I think I tore something. Oh man, like I started obsessing, thinking that I tore something and nothing was even wrong. Like, I'm just saying, like, our minds are so powerful. Sometimes they can be our biggest enemies. And we have to, again, going back to that mental plateau, like we have to break through those things, man. And you're going to break through it. So just speak life to yourself. Even if you sustain I'm just saying, even if it's a pulled muscle or whatever the case is, stay positive, speak life to yourself, and say savage and safe. Savage and safe.
I think it's interesting that you said that, someone is going to come into Pete's life and inspire him and get his mind back. And it's 100% you, man.
Hey, listen, whatever God uses, like, I've always been a fan of Pete. I didn't think it would manifest in this way, but like I said, I'm there. You called me, I'm here, I'm there. Like, it's going to happen. So whatever I can do to encourage you anytime you're down, or if you just got some thoughts, like, I'm just being flat out honest. When it comes to programming and all that stuff, like, you're the man. Like, tons and tons and tons more stuff than I know. But when it comes to like that mental fatigue, that mental awareness, overcoming those obstacles, like, I'm the man, and I'm going to be the person to tell you, like, to help you get through those not just you, but everybody. Like,
yes.
But that's my gift. That's where I'm gifted at, and I know my role.
I mean, what you're saying could resonate with everyone. Everybody needs to see this. I'm like, my mind is blown. I feel like a lot of people could get a lot out of this. And like, seriously, you could be up there giving TED Talks and making tons of money because nobody speaks like you. The motivational speaking aspect that you're not even trying to do, it's just manifesting itself through the passion that's coming out. Like, you could be doing that, man. I'm not even joking. Like, I know David Goggins, I mentioned him earlier. I don't know if you guys know much about him, but
I do.
He's the man, and he does that. And I'm like, Julie, you could freaking do that. I mean, corporations would pay big money to hear you speak about your mentality, because it's just unbelievable.
Well, that's my weakness. That's my mental plateau, is believing that I could do stuff like that. So that's what I'm suffering with right now. That's what I'm struggling with right now, is believing that so I know that I'm good enough in weightlifting, but am I good enough in front of corporate America, in front of 5,000 people or 100 people at a Fortune 500 company? Is Julius Maddox good enough to go in front of these people and speak and articulate my words well and inspire those people? I've been told that I have the gift by other people, but do I believe it myself? So I'm just telling you, like, that's the area that I struggle at. That's what I'm wrestling with now, is believing, am I good enough to do this? And because ultimately that's what I want to do, is I want to be a motivational speaker. I want to motivate and inspire people. But I want to do it all around the world, whether corporate or middle schools or high schools or whatever the case may be, which I'm already doing it in high schools and middle schools. I've been doing that for about 4 years. But corporate America, am I good enough? You know, so again, we all have our struggles. We all have our doubts. Just because maybe yours right now may be, you know, entering the next season of your weightlifting career. Mine is going from being the strongest bench presser in the world to, you know, going and speaking to multitudes of people. That's what I want to do. So, but yeah, I have to work on that. So it's my vice.
Hey, the answer is yes, man. You're the guy for the job.
Well, I appreciate you guys, man. I really do. I appreciate it.
Once you tap into that passion, it's gonna all come out. It's all gonna take care of itself. As far as you're speaking, like, yeah, I mean, we've seen it today. That's what I'm saying. I didn't realize the depths of your mind. As far as, like, this stuff is blowing my mind. So I feel like a lot of people could get a lot out of this.
Yeah.
That's my point. I'm like, man, I don't care. I mean, you could be a business and have nothing to do with training, and you'd be like, wow, okay, that completely changes the game, you know?
Well, that's where we want to get to, and so that's going to be my next phase of where I'm pushing myself, apart from, like, powerlifting and strongman. Like, I'm going to push myself into motivational speaking and becoming great at that. Because everybody needs motivation. Everybody needs a pick me up sometimes. And like I said, I want to inspire people all across the board. And that's what started this conversation where I was like, look, I want to do these things and do voiceovers and inspire people. And he was like, hey, look, well, let's hop on a phone call. And so that's what's so sweet about it. I know that every bit of this podcast or Skype that we're doing is divine. And I'm not one of those type of spiritual people that are, like, overly spiritual, where I believe, like, where I'm, you know, talking to, you know, going all the way in. But I know that that this conversation was divine appointment for all of us, you know. So I mean, I really appreciate you guys.
Yeah, man, I felt like the Holy Spirit was in that conversation personally. And, you know, it's interesting because I listened to this preacher once, and he was explaining, you know, in the scripture it says that when you preach the gospel, when you speak things from God, that's when the Holy Spirit comes. Like, a lot of people think the Holy Spirit inspires someone to speak. You know, oh, I need the Holy Spirit to come inspire me to speak. But actually, when you start to preach the gospel, when you start speaking the truth, the Holy Spirit comes upon you. That's what actually brings. Yeah, and so it's kind of a reverse from what people think, you know. And I've experienced the Holy Spirit a lot. I don't know how much you guys have, but I've always tried to share the gospel a lot. And when I listened to that message, I was like, wow, that's actually why. That's why I have experienced the Holy Spirit. You know, I've had periods of my life where I was just running crazy, filled with the Holy Spirit of God, and just like, this is amazing, you know, I'll put it out there. I mean, I'll share. I've shared with Pete like to no end, like to no end. I've just been like blah 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 blah. But it's like, when you do that, that's when the Holy Spirit comes, and I could feel it when you were talking. I really could.
Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. I love to share the gospel everywhere I go, but I try to be subtle because I want people. I want people to. I don't want to be pushy on people. I want people to respond, be able to respond. Don't feel like that I'm overbearing because I'm already a big dude. I get excited. So to some, it kind of scares. They don't know how to take me, because when you first meet me, I have this kind of mean look on my face. But really, I'm like a teddy bear. Like, I love everybody. I want to help everybody. I want to protect everybody. So, like, it's just, I try to come across as, I guess, easy as possible, because I don't want to scare anybody into like saying, "Oh, I believe in Jesus now. Please don't hurt me," But that's not the case. But that's what I'm thinking in my head, that people are thinking that I'm gonna like beat them into following Jesus. So like I basically go off my testimony and what the Lord has done in my life and what I've been through, and if they respond, they respond, but I find a way to be able to share the gospel in some way, shape, or form. And that's one of the biggest balances that I struggle with still today, is because, I mean, Pete, as well as I do, like in powerlifting and just the sport, period, I mean, it's some wild, crazy stuff from the women to just everything is just crazy. So, the biggest thing was I said that, Lord, if you're going to give me this platform, just please help me to always be who I say I am and not be ashamed of the gospel at any time. Because I just didn't want people to push people away by me sharing the gospel, So for so long, I was so convicted because I didn't share the gospel. Whenever I would be at expos or meets, I didn't even want to even, because I was afraid to be like, overly Jesus on people. But, it just hit me because it's like, well, why am I doing this? He gave me this gift. So why wouldn't I share with people about the gift that he's given me? I'm not being pushy. I'm just letting you know that, like, I wouldn't be doing this or lifting this weight or even be here if it wasn't for God saving me and changing my life, So, that's kind of where I was with it. But now I'm just, when I'm at expos, you might catch me at an expo, literally, at like a fit expo, praying with somebody in the midst of everything. Like I don't care anymore. You know what I mean? It's just like, if that's the worst thing you could say about me is, man, I see Julius praying with somebody, then I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. So,
it's awesome.
But my phone is about to die, and I got my headphones in. But yeah, any other time, you guys, whatever you guys got it planned, let's link up. Pete, so how far are you from me again?
4 hours, 20 minutes.
Okay. So now it's not a big deal. I don't work, so I can travel. I plan on, once all this clears up, I plan on coming down to your gym and training, and we can inspire each other, take it to the next level. But I don't know what's next from this, but just keep me posted, and whatever I can do to help you guys, just let me know.
Yes, sir.
Way, shape, or form.
Hey, thank you guys. I really appreciate
it, man.
Yeah, appreciate it, guys. That was awesome.
All right. Thanks.